Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us at World of Pets podcast. We love having you here on a weekly basis. And we want our pets to live as long as possible, but we want that to be a good quality life. So, to that end, we on this podcast explore all things about pets and animals so that we can have them around for a long time, but they are living a quality life. So, again, thank you for joining us. Take it away, hosts.
Welcome back to the World of Pets podcast. We are sponsored by debspets.com. That's DEBSPETS.com. And I want to let you guys know that is about not only pet wellness, but also human wellness. So go check out that website. Anthony, welcome back, my brother. Andrew, it's good to have you again tonight. We're going to have a great conversation about pet photography.
All right, can't wait. This is wonderful.
All right, well, let's get rolling. So do you mainly do cats, dogs, snakes, alligators?
Snakes and alligators in the wild. I have, or sometimes in like a wildlife preserve, but not any pets that are snakes or alligators. But there could be potbelly pigs. Yes, I might have a photograph of that to show,
Nice.
and some other wonderful animals.
So I've got a cool story about an alligator if you guys want to hear it.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So when my dad was a boy, his father was a Baptist preacher, and they were living in Florida. And his dad, my grandpa, went to preach somewhere, and the church couldn't afford to pay him to come in and be the guest speaker. So they gave him a baby alligator as his payment. So he drove all the way home, like the 2-hour drive home, and they raised this alligator. That was his payment for preaching.
Wow.
So he became, the gator preacher.
That is a story. I've never heard anything quite like that. You hear about a lot of other things given in lieu of cash, but not that.
When it got too big to handle in the bathtub, let's just say my grandma had to get rid of it.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, such is life.
Where would you like to start, Andrew?
Well, I have some of my favorite tips to share so that your listeners and viewers can have more memories than maybe they have now in their phone or in their big camera. So I'm going to start off with one of my favorite tips, which is to start low in your positioning when you're taking pictures and then slowly move up in the food chain, if you will. And then you'll get a chance to get this whole range of photographs that very few people do. Usually, wherever we happen to be at the time, that's the angle that we're taking. So our lovely producer in the background will bring up the first image, and then I'll just be going through them. So the first one is at a park, and you can see how low I am, and you get this amazing, what's called hero look. And so I just really love this type of image. And you'll see in this one also, I would say, all of my photographs of dogs usually require some type of magic amulet like this, because I don't know what the squeaky does, what kind of magic is in the squeaky, but it's incredible what you can get with the squeaky.
It just got my dog's attention. When you did that,
I was going to say it works on me too. So
that's so funny. Yeah, so that's the first one. And so now we'll go a little bit up. And so this was a lot of fun photographing this puppy. And he was really active. And when you get photographs like this, you never know what you're going to get until afterward. And it's just so much fun to just keep taking pictures. In this case, it was with a big camera, digital SLR, and I just kept taking pictures. And what's nice about some cameras, in fact, almost all cameras, is whether it's a phone camera or another camera, is even, let's just first talk about the big cameras. Sometimes you have a flip out screen. So you're taking the picture and you can look down at the screen, but the lens is right here. But let's say you have a smartphone. Well, in that case, you may not be able to see what's in front of you that well, but you may not know but these, at least on an iPhone and also on Android, you just have to figure out which button it is. These buttons become shutter releases. So once you're in the camera app, you can be taking pictures and not even have to worry about hitting the button.
Really? Is that an iPhone you've got there?
Yes.
So it's the volume buttons or the other ones?
Volume, either one.
Really?
Yes.
That's a good trick to know. You're hired.
Just don't hit the one on the other side, or else it's going to shut off. Not shut off, but go to sleep, if you
I
will.
want to try it right now.
Yes, I just took one with both buttons. You know what the best thing is when you're speaking to someone and they weren't aware of a certain tip, and now I believe
Look at that, dude. Andrew, that's cool.
That's really great to hear. Okay, excellent. So next up, we will go a little bit further up and maybe about the same. I have a number that are just pretty much right at eye height. And I just love this because you get a little bit of the front of the sofa. And then, so you go from this out of focus area in the front of the sofa, and then sharpness for the cat, and then the background goes out of focus. Now, this is because in this case, I used a larger camera and what's called a shallow depth of field or a low f-stop. But you can create this same look in your smartphone, either when you take the picture or afterward. But it is kind of nice to see it and know exactly what you get right at that time. So that's that one. And I have another one next, would be very similar. And this is one where I was on the ground and basically on my stomach, and the dog was running toward me. And that's how I was able to get this. And I would say just make sure you protect yourself. You don't necessarily want to get dirty just to get the shot. So there's all kinds of things you can use, whatever, blanket, or I have something that I invented, simple product called the gallery pouch, which is essentially a bag, but it's a bubble bag and you can sit on that. So whatever you have that can protect yourself is wonderful, whether you're kneeling or whether you're lying down. So
Sure,
then,
just real quick, we had a
yes,
comment in the chat. Just be careful of the toys that the pet is, so the pet doesn't chew it up and swallow it, because that can cause some problems down the road.
absolutely. Yes, it's
So, yeah.
always safety first is what I always say. Okay, next will be also somewhat similar, right at eye level. And this was actually a virtual photography session with someone in Australia. And that was a wonderful moment that we had together with her amazing cat. And shortly, you will see the same cat from a little bit higher perspective. But that's the beauty of thinking it out a little bit. Instead of just saying, oh, that's a special moment, taking one picture and going. No, I would take personally like 10 pictures and maybe a short video, and then from different angles, because you don't know in this moment. In fact, this moment will never come again. I would say that, but you don't know when you'll have a similar moment again. Okay, next one. And there you go. Same cat, Maine Coon, incredible coat of fur. And I just asked the owner, when I was working with her virtually, to go above and to get this image. And I always say, please hold your phone very carefully with both hands, or very securely with one hand if it's not a big phone. These phones are getting so big that you often really need two hands to safely and securely hold the phone in a position like this. But this was a really wonderful moment, probably my favorite of the pictures I took of her cat.
Very nice.
Thank you. Okay, next. Now this is similar as far as the angle. I call this like a 3/4 angle. This would be similar to if you were just walking around, if you were a typical adult.
My kids rock.
And then in this case, this moment just happened. I didn't ask the dog to go into this chair, but it just happened. And this one made it into my book, Biscuit for Your Thoughts. And each one of these pictures in the book has a saying, and the saying for this dog is clash brilliantly.
That is like that took me a second to focus on that picture because I'm like, oh, bright chair. Wait, what's is that a Dalmatian?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. That's cool.
That is
Oh,
really cool.
thank you. Okay, and now we're getting even closer to
Oh,
completely overhead, pretty much. And this moment was for a full page photograph for a magazine that I was the editorial director of. And this was the publisher's dog, a wonderful dog named Cupid. And I brought a tablecloth, which is what you're seeing underneath there, a nice tablecloth and some rose petals. I forget whether I brought the rose petals or if the publisher had them. And I just tried some different things and I set up lights different ways and kept taking pictures. And then I got one that we both loved. And that's the thing about photography. Even though it's digital, you still have to look and make sure you get the shot. And in the past with film, you didn't know it all. And the moment you'd have to go back. But now with digital, whether it's a phone or a bigger camera, it just takes a second to review and take a look and see whether you got what you like. Because otherwise, if you did a lot of setup and if this was for something important, you want to make sure that you did get something that you were happy with.
Sure.
Okay, next is okay, now let's move into a separate category. So I set these up in batches, and this one I call humor. I know since like 80 years ago, Life would publish books with humorous pictures of animals. And then a number of people became known for humorous pictures with animals. And the Far Side comics, if you've ever seen them, those are perfect examples. This is almost like a Far Side comic. You can almost write the headline like "What time's lunch?" or something funny like that, because of the history of cats and birds. And so this was at a friend's home, and I just thought it was one of the most beautiful rooms, one of the most beautiful cages, and the cat was just looking lovingly at his brother or sister there in the cage, and I captured that moment.
Is that just one bird or is that three birds at the bottom?
Oh, there could be more birds. I'm not sure. I'd have to zoom in, but
Yeah, I've got because I'm having to use my phone, unfortunately. But I see the three bumps in the bottom of the cage, and the only thing that came to mind was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Since we're
yeah.
talking about
You know, that's funny. So if I were to zoom in, which I can do myself, I'm seeing one. No, there's two birds. Oh, there's another bird in the top. Yeah, there's three birds. There's one in the upper right hand corner,
nailed it.
and then two on the left. So you wrote the best caption without a doubt. Awesome. All right, next. So sometimes it just takes the smallest. Well, first of all, come on, bringing a potbelly pig into a studio is already funny. I mean, we have how many hours of Miss Piggy and the Muppets to give us inspiration, and just making one small prop or piece of clothing like that for this wonderful pig, I thought it was wonderful. And I told you, I think last week, what this pig's, I guess you would call her her forever mom said, and she said, I think the name of this pig is Rosie, and she said Rosie is a ham.
So how many takes does it usually take to get a good picture like that?
Well, Rosie was very easy to work with, but sometimes if I'm working with a cat, let's say, who is quote unquote a scaredy cat and not used to people bothering them, like photographers, then it could be a long time or never. But usually eventually I get I get the picture because I'm a little bit stubborn and I want to, without causing any harm or stress, I just wait them out, and eventually they will find their way towards some food usually, and then I can often get the picture.
Now, do you do like back to back to back to back to back pictures like you see him on TV with politics and all that? You hear the shutters, brrrr, you know, all the cameras and all that stuff. Do you do stuff like that in these kinds of situations?
I'd say in this case, usually not, because there's often a flash involved, and with a flash, you have to take one at a time and let the flash recycle. But if there's not a flash, then I may want to take multiple pictures, like click, 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 not like.
Mhm.
What you're seeing there is multiple people flashing at the same time, flashing their cameras. But in this case, I'm generally using flash in this situation. But if I'm not using flash, then I may set it to continuous, because if there's motion, then I get the range of motion and I can capture just the right moment. But in this case, Rosie was not that active. But sometimes they are very active and I want to keep shooting. Of course, it uses up more space, but it's okay because I can erase my card, unlike film, which,
Right.
12, 36 exposures, which was a lot at the time, and you're done. You have to put another roll of film in. Okay, next. So this just happened one day. I was after a photo session with this lovely pup, and I had this sock in my bag to prop up one of my lenses and to keep it protected. And I guess somehow he saw it, or she saw it. And then
That's where the other sock went.
You
I thought
know,
it was the dryer.
I
that
just
is
thought there was a
actually,
monster that lived inside my dryer that ate him.
you really have some good captions today, because that would be the caption. The caption they used is, "There's no accounting for a man's taste in socks." Okay.
I
All
love
right.
it. That's
Thank
great.
you. Next. So now this one kind of stands alone. This is the same dog, or it could be his brother or sister, because I think they had 3 Dalmatians from earlier, the Clash Brilliantly dog, same home. And this was on a beautiful day after it snowed. And my friend calls this picture Lucky Dog because the beautiful, beautiful setting. And like so many of my photographs, these are the ones that I love to do most. The ones that just happen, and I'm not setting up a backdrop, and I'm not coming up with some special prop or something. I just love following the animals, whether I'm doing it in person or virtually. I just love being free to capture the spirit of the animal. And that's what I believe this photograph does. It captures the spirit, and the dog maybe looking for a squirrel. Who knows? We don't know. But regardless, I like these moments. And the other thing is black and white, which is another thing that I love to do. Okay, now let's move to holidays and things that you can do with regard to dressing up your pet. So this happened to be also Cupid. Remember earlier we had Cupid from above with the rose petals.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you go to do a photo session, it makes sense to make the most of the location while you're there. And so this just kind of happened, and Cupid was dressed up in her little frock. It's almost like Little Red Riding Hood's coat. And it was just perfect. This sleigh was great, and they had a little stuffed animal dog dressed for
Right.
the
I thought
season.
it was reindeer that led Santa's sleigh, not bulldogs.
Well, this is the modern sled, and there's probably a caption there for that too. Like, "Step aside, Rudolph.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a new dog in town," or something. Okay, now this I'm highlighting this because I have an article that's available for free on a website called FOTSI. In fact, I have 4 articles, but one of them has to do with dressing pets. So I'll go through some of the pictures from that and some other of my favorite photographs and tips for photographing animals dressed in costumes. Now, the funny thing is, this is not a costume, but it looks like one. It's a jacket and with a commercial product, which are dog goggles known as doggles. And this all came together. I was overjoyed when I saw this happening. And what can I say? You just have to be there, and you have to hope that the people who bring the pets also have a sense of humor and have some good clothing to dress them in.
Oh, we can call that Van Halen if you want.
Oh yes, it does. It does look like that. Yes, one of my favorite bands. And here are some Newfoundlands, and I just love the fact that they're such giant dogs, and they're wearing butterfly wings, and with
Newfies are dogs, man.
the little butterfly things like John Belushi in Saturday Night Live. If you watch those old episodes, they had those too.
Yeah.
So, and then in the next picture, you'll see how I lit them. In this case, using a flash. So off-camera flash. Well, you don't have to use a flash. You can just use a strong light and put it in there. There's all kinds of LED lights that you can get, and you can buy an umbrella like that inexpensively, and it really helps. If you go back one, you'll see how beautiful the light is. It looks like natural light from the sun. You get that really nice, even, but still directional enough, and you get, even though you can't really see their eyes light up because of that big umbrella creating the light. So these are things that pretty much anyone can do if you just take the time, whether you put a sheet in front of it or you get an umbrella like this, you can get wonderful images. Okay, next is an example of using a flash on one side, and the other side is a gold reflector. And these are wonderful, these disc reflectors. Inside, if you unzip it, you have more reflectors inside, including one that you can put light through. If the sun is really bright, it works really well for that.
Really?
And in the next one, you get to see the reveal of what I created with that gold on the right. You can see the gold on the side of the jack-o'-lantern and a little gold on the side of the dog. And so you get to see the magic behind the photograph.
Oh, that's great, dude.
Oh, thank you. And this Doberman looked like he wasn't exactly happy about putting bunny ears on him, but that's part of the fun. He was. It wasn't like he was really upset. He just, that look was, what can I say? You know, only dogs and other animals can create such emotion just by just being them. And I just love this very simple thing that has, you know, very safe, and with the pet parent nearby who actually put it on because I wasn't going to put it on, obviously. And it was just this really nice moment. And I think if you experiment a little bit, and again, as long as it's safe, I think the photographs you can get are really wonderful.
Yeah, that one took both the socks, by the way.
Yeah. And then this one, last week I mentioned this one, but I wasn't able to show it on the screen. And this was an example of not dressing up the dog, but dressing up
the kids.
The kids. And so this was for, I believe, a first communion. And it was just a wonderful, beautiful day. And the backyard play set just happened to be in the perfect place. I situated them, and the grass looked wonderful. And they just were so happy to be with their dog. And then I added light in front of them. That's not natural light in front of them. There's all natural light around them, but then I had a light. Just picture like a 4 bulbs, basically, is what it is. 4 bulbs, daylight balance, meaning cool white, versus what most people have when you go inside of a home is warm light. But I used a cool white bulb, and then I was able to balance it with the daylight outside and get this really wonderful image. And they told me this was their favorite photograph, at least up to that time, of their kids.
That's a great pick. Love it.
Okay. This one is a photograph of my 4 books, and 2 of them have dogs right on the cover, and 2 of them have dogs inside of them. But the 2 on the right are my Pet Photography 101, which talks all about mostly dogs and cat photography. And then Biscuit for Your Thoughts is the one from 2 from the right.
So this is a good place to insert. Where can we get your books, and where can people get in touch with you?
I would say the best place is to just look up my Amazon author page, and then if for some reason you can't find it there, just look anywhere else books are sold. The Biscuit for Your Thoughts, it's a little difficult to find the hardcover now, but you can often still find it, but it's in soft cover, and that you can certainly find. It's a little bit bigger. They're both, I think, really, I've been told people really, really love them. And one person who's a friend of my mom told me that when she was going through cancer treatment, she said there were some days that she could hardly get her head off the pillow, but my book gave her hope and joy.
Oh, I love that.
Amazing.
Well, thank you.
Now, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, Andrew, about your work or hiring you, how would they go about doing that?
Great. If you go next, I think there may be a couple things that are related to that. So one is you can just go to Facebook, put my name there. It's probably the easiest place. Or you can go to candidcanine.com. And then if you go back one, if you don't mind, this is an event that I do just about every month. It's called the Pet Story Party. And I generally advertise it on social media, or you can just ask me to be added to the list. So this is an event where we bring people together who are pet lovers, generally for about 90 minutes. And we talk about pets from our past and our present. And there are always some funny moments, and sometimes some Kleenex moments, which you may, understand because of our love for pets. And so it's just a wonderful way for people to get together. And then at some point along the way, I talk about my pet photography. And if people want to have a conversation about that afterward, we do that. So if you go to the next one, I think that's just about the only reason I put this one in, because last time you asked me, how did I get started in photography? And I'll just tell this story really quickly. This dog was one of my first pet photographs, and it changed my life because I could not believe that first of all, that this would happen at Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. Now, all the dogs do not have a place like this in the benching area, but this dog, this is a Borzoi, it did. And he's like a champion and an amazing dog. And I was just so happy that they allowed me to take the picture, and then how it turned out, I was overjoyed. So this really put me on a trajectory to then do so much more with my pet photography.
It's so great, man. Thanks again for being on, buddy. So our engineer's going to put in the link to your contact information in the description on all the channels. And man, I really hope that you just put another gallery together for us, because you're always a joy to have on.
Oh, thank you.
With that, I'm going to say, don't forget, go to debspets.com. That's DEBSPETS.com. Anthony, shut us down, brother.
All right. Well, my dog needs some attention. So if you are like my dog and you need somebody to talk to or to hug you or to hang out with or just to hear, we're here for you. We'd rather have that 3 a.m. conversation than to see your name in the headlines next morning. And if we can't help you, we promise you we will find a way to find somebody who can help you. So thanks for joining us again today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And Andrew, thank you.
Thank you. That was
Thanks.
wonderful.
Bye.
Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. I'm glad that you joined us for At World of Pets podcast. We would like for you to take a look at what our sponsors have to offer, and that sponsor is debspets.com. You can access it through the QR code, or you can just go to the website. So thank you for joining us, and hope to see you again next week.